Welcome everyone to Therapeutic Yoga today. We are going to do an entire class focusing on some nice opening of our hips and our low back. So this is a little bit of a slower class. You're not probably going to get your sweat on this one. We're not going to be focusing on a lot of strengthening. We're really just going to be focusing on nice, good relaxation breaths and opening up areas of our hips and our low back that tend to get compressed and tense and all of that stuff that really can drive inflammation and pain. So what you're going to need for today's class is your yoga mat and a bolster. Once you have those two things, have yourself a seat on your bolster. And what I would encourage you to do with your bolster today is place your bolster somewhere in the center of your yoga mat, so that if you bring your feet in front of you, you'll be able to keep your feet on the yoga mat and have that traction that beautiful yoga mats provide, because we're going to be doing some fun things in this position. But once you're there, allow yourself to have a nice, good, tall seated posture. Start to roll your pelvis forward and backward for me. And as you're rolling forward and backwards, start to pay attention to where you feel that you're the tallest, where your sit bones are, and find yourself in that position and hold it there. Then from your hip joints, so way down there from your hip joints, keep your spine nice and long, and then very slowly hinge yourself forward just until you find that point that you start to feel weight through your feet. And then once you're there, keep yourself in that position. Let's take our hands and gently hold a tray in front of us with our hands. Let's get our shoulder blades nice and connected to those spines. So in this position, gently shrug your shoulders up slightly and then rotate your arms outward, but don't let your elbows go behind you. So don't allow your arms to fall back behind you. And then once you've got your shoulders rotated outward, thumbs are facing the back of you, take a nice deep inhale. And then on the exhale, just squeeze really nicely between your shoulder blades. Keep that squeeze, keep that spine tall, keep the weight through the feet. And then just from the shoulder joints themselves, unrotate your hands and bring your hands down onto your legs. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, get yourself nice and beautifully tall. And then find that resting position for your tongue if it isn't there already. So that's on the roof of the mouth with the tip of the tongue really close to the back of the top teeth. Just imagine that you're trying to say the letter N. And that position of saying, you're doing it at home right now, aren't you? That position of saying, is exactly the resting position for your tongue. So we really want to try to keep it there as much as possible. That ensures that we don't do any mouth breathing while we're practicing our yoga. So find that position of the tongue. And then today, all we're going to do to begin is something that's really important for the low back, and that is diaphragmatic breathing. So a lot of individuals that have low back compression, pain, inflammation, they tend to stop breathing below and they tend to breathe entirely above to kind of keep everything tight and spasmed and all of the above. So what I really want you to work on today is getting that nice, gentle, slow diaphragmatic breath to begin class. So in order to do that, take your right hand and place it just above your belly button onto your abdomen so that you can kind of feel with your thumb that you're touching your rib cage. That's kind of the area of your diaphragm. And then with your left hand, gently place it over the sternum or over your upper chest area, just to be aware tactily that you're not over breathing through your chest and you're really giving yourself that good opportunity to get that diaphragm moving and start to already relax the low back, even though all we've done is a breathing exercise. So check in that there's still weight through your legs. And then in this position, maybe even close your eyes and then slowly through your nose, start to inhale and feel your right hand expanding outward. So on the inhale, the belly goes out. And then on the exhale, the belly goes in. So don't worry about counting your breath today. Really feel your breath where your right hand is. And then try to get that rhythm of taking the air in through your nose and your belly goes out, and letting that air go out through your nose and your belly goes in. As you inhale, you're letting the air come in the nose. You feel that hand on your abdomen gently expanding outward. And then as you exhale, You feel that hand gently settling inward. Do yourself a couple more breaths at home. And then slowly open your eyes and relax your hands back onto your thighs. Now, what's really interesting about the inhale is when we inhale to our low back, what we're actually doing is creating a micro stretch of those back muscles. So, oftentimes, if you're someone that's dealing with back pain, back spasms, or something like that, simply taking that deep inhale into your abdomen will be enough to actually get a little bit of a stretch of your low back. So we oftentimes just start to really shorten our breath when we have back pain or even hip pain, because that way the air doesn't get down there and doesn't give it that stretch or that movement that we so need. All right, speaking of movement and stretching, take your hands and bring them to the front of your knees here. We're going to go through some cat cows, really specifically focusing on the pelvis part of this. So, what I want you to do is as you inhale, allow yourself to roll your pelvis forward, stick your belly out, and lift your chest up. By all means, lengthen the neck and gaze up if you want to. And then as you exhale, allow the pelvis to roll back. Roll back until the point you feel that if you keep rolling, your knees are going to lift. That's how far I want you to go. Let your rib cage drop down, let your chin gently settle down, and maybe even gaze into your belly button. We're going to do this 4 more times. I really want you to pay attention to that pelvis roll, okay? So as you inhale, gently roll it forward as the belly comes out, as the rib cage lifts. And then as you exhale, roll back onto that tailbone area. But because you're bracing through your arms, those muscles don't contract. Chin to chest, gaze inward as you drop your rib cage. Inhaling, rolling forward. And exhaling, keep the mouth closed, breathing through your nose, really allowing yourself to get that good breath. 2 more times, inhaling slowly, rolling the pelvis forward, lifting the rib cage, and then exhaling, and really exhale that pelvis back until you get to that point that you feel like you need to lift your knees. All right, let's do one more time. Inhaling and exhaling. And then bring yourself all the way back up to that start position. Release the hands from the knees. You've got it. Now, in this position, take your right leg out. Once you've got your right leg out, what I want you to do with your pelvis that right now is facing to the side of your yoga mat is I want you to pull your leg back until you get to the point that your pelvis is facing your right leg. Now, in this position, find that point where your knee is directly to the corner of your bolster. Now, if you don't have a bolster at home and you're using a bunch of pillows, just make sure that you have a soft bend in your right knee today. All right. Now, in this position, just gently let that left foot come into the bolster and rest your leg out wherever it may go. With your left hand, take an inhale, reach it up, and then as you exhale, bring it over to the outside of that right knee. So you're not in a spinal twist here. In fact, all that you've done is lined your rib cage up with your pelvis, up with your right leg. Now, right hand, if you want, can be on the floor behind your bolster. But what I want you to do in this position is to go through that rock and roll of that pelvis again. So what I don't want to see you do is just slide down into a flexion into your leg, because you're going to miss all the glorious gentle opening through your low back, your hamstrings, and your gluteals. So just hold on to the outside of that right knee with the left hand. Rib cage is forward, maybe even lengthen your neck and gaze at your right toes here for me. And then as you inhale, try to roll your belly forward. You'll feel that opening through your gluteals and your hamstrings. And then as you exhale, just roll the pelvis back. Your hand is holding you. You're only going to go so far. Let's do that again. Inhale, rolling forward. Nice, good opening through hamstring and gluteals. And then exhaling, rolling back. Nice, good opening through these left low back muscles. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling as you settle that rib cage. Let's do 2 more. Inhaling. Feel that opening through the hamstring and the glutes. Your knee is bent, so there's no neural tension, hopefully. Exhaling, relaxing. And one more time. Inhaling and exhaling and relaxing. Beautiful. Now just bring yourself back to the center position. We are going to try to do some flossing of our sciatic nerve. So here's the thing I want you to think of. If you took a string of floss and you went in and out of your teeth, one end of your arm has to lengthen while the other end shortens, and then you do the opposite way. I know that looks like a really big flossing, but we're going to do that with our leg and our back together. So as we shorten through our leg, we're going to create that length through our gluteals. And then as you roll yourself back, you're just going to gently straighten your knee. That's all we're going to focus on doing. Now, as you straighten that knee, if you want to bring your toes up, by all means, feel free to do that. So as you inhale, your toes point away, your knee bends, you roll your pelvis forward. And then as you exhale, you roll your pelvis backwards, straighten the knee, toes up towards the head. You got it. Let's do 3 more times. Inhale, rolling forward, pointing the toe away, bending the knee. Exhaling, rolling backwards, straightening the knee, pointing the toes up. Let's do 1 more time. Inhale, rolling forward, bending the knee, pointing the toes away. And then exhale, rolling backwards, straightening the knee, pointing the toes up. Beautiful. Slowly relax. And then gently allow yourself to derotate your pelvis to the front. Slide your right leg in. And then once your right leg is slid in, see if you can kind of get the bottoms of both of your feet to rest somewhere midline in your mat. Gently place your hands onto your knees. Nice, good opening for our adductors and our hip capsules here. So in this position, if you could see me from the side, I want you to lean enough forward that your knees and your shoulders line up. And then once you have yourself there, gently place your hands on your knees and start to gently push until you feel just a slight opening through your hips. So don't go into pain, just allow yourself to feel tension. Then in that position, take a slow, deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling out. 2 more breaths. Nice, deep, slow inhale in. And exhaling out. Slow, deep, inhaling in. And exhaling out. Most excellent. Bring your trunk back in line with your pelvis. Now the left leg is going to go out to the side. So you're trying to get that left leg kind of pointed to the corner of your mat. Your right knee bends. But before you get the right leg position, we have to position our pelvis. So shorten the left leg until the knee bend is somewhere near the bolster, but you feel like you're pointed towards your left leg. Once you have yourself there, then you can gently let your right knee fall out to the side. Now to get the rib cage and shoulders lined up with that knee and that pelvis, right hand, take an inhale, lift it up. And then as you exhale, bring it up and over and hold that outside of that left leg. So you've kind of anchored yourself to face pelvis and rib cage towards the left leg. Really allows us to open up the inner and the outer hamstrings and all the gluteals together rather than biasing the inside or the outside of them. All right, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, maybe check in with your tongue position here. So remember, we're starting with just that modification of cat-cow pose with the focus on the left hamstrings and glutes. So in this position, keeping the hold of the left leg, keeping the knee bent and the foot relaxed, take an inhale and roll the pelvis forward as the belly goes towards the thigh. And then as you exhale back, roll yourself back until you can't go any further because you've got your leg connected to your arm. Let's do that 4 times now. So as you inhale, sit up nice and tall, roll the pelvis, belly comes forward. And then as you exhale, slowly settling downward. Inhaling, lifting the spine and rib cage as the belly comes forward towards the thigh. And then as you're exhaling, slowly settling it down. 2 more times. Nice deep inhale and lifting. And then nice deep exhale and rolling that pelvis back. And finally, inhale, lifting up and rolling that pelvis forward. And then as you exhale, settling and rolling that pelvis backward. Beautiful. Now, start yourself in the middle. So find the middle of the road for you again. And then let's go through what we're doing here. So we're flossing our sciatic nerve, meaning one end shortens while the other end lengthens, and then one end shortens as the other end lengthens. So it literally is analogized to flossing your teeth with a piece of string. That piece of string happens to be your sciatic nerve. So let's give this a try. So point your toes away, make sure your knee is relaxed. As you inhale, roll your pelvis forward. And then as you exhale, roll it back, straighten the knee, toes come up towards your head. You've got it. Let's do 4 times here. Inhaling, roll the pelvis forward, bend the knee, point the toes away. And then as you exhale, roll the pelvis back, straighten the knee, toes towards the head. Very nice. Inhaling, rolling forward, bending knee, pointing toes. Exhaling, rolling backward, straightening knee, pointing toes towards head. 2 more times here. Inhaling, rolling forward, pointing toes, bending knee. And exhaling, rolling backwards, straightening knee, pointing toes towards head. Let's do one last time. Inhaling, bending knee, pointing toes, and rolling forward. And then exhaling, rolling backwards, straightening knee, pointing toes. You've got it. Relaxing the leg, bringing yourself back to the center. And this time, instead of bringing the palms of your feet or the bottoms of your feet together, allow yourself to bring your legs as wide as you feel comfortable on your bolster. Now, a little hint from the field. The closer to the edge of the bolster you are, the further and wider you can get your legs. In this position, please try to keep your rib cage and your shoulders smack dab over your pelvis. Hands, place them on the bolster for me. So you just got your arms kind of behind your pelvis. Now, take a nice deep inhale and just gently roll your pelvis forward. Okay, you should feel your inner thigh muscles. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, open up through your chest while we're at it. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, tongue to the roof of your mouth. Let's stay right here and do 3 beautiful diaphragmatic breaths. So a nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. 2 more times. Deep inhaling in. Keep that roll forwards. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades, exhaling out. 1 more time. Deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Great. Now relax that pelvis rotation. So find yourself somewhere in the neutral. And then we're going to do just a quick little opening through our latissimus muscles before we change positions. So left hand, place it on the back corner on the left side of your bolster. Right hand, take a nice deep inhale and lift that hand up. And then as you exhale, side bend up and over to the left. Now, can you rotate your pelvis, your rib cage, so that your armpits reach straight up towards that ceiling? Oh yeah, there you are. Now in that position, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, maybe put a smile on your face. Right in this right low back area, give me a nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. 1 more breath, nice deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Gorgeous. Right hand, inhale it up and then exhaling it down. Let's do that on the opposite side. So right hand, find that back bolster edge. Then left hand, when you're ready, nice deep inhale, lifting the arm up. And as you exhale, bring that arm up and over. Now armpit rotated up towards the ceiling. So you're getting the side of your low back. And in that position right there, keep yourself nice and long. Give me a deep inhale. Do you feel it in the side of your low back? Exhaling out. One more nice deep breath here in and out. Excellent. Now left arm, inhaling it up and exhaling, dropping it down. Very nice. Now slowly bringing your legs back inward. And then gently allowing yourself to roll up and off of your bolster onto your hands and knees. Now take your bolster and move your bolster to your side. We are definitely going to use the bolster again in a few moments, but we're going to do some cat cows and some gentle hip opening on our hands and knees before we tackle this bolster again. So find yourself on hands and knees. Remember that hip distance through the knees. So that's 2 fists between those knees if you need to check in with that. Gaze back that your feet line up with your knees, and then stack your hips directly on top of your knees. Walk your hands forward until you feel like your wrists and elbows are comfortably underneath your shoulders. Index fingers are forward, thumbs are all the way in, and then spread out those outer 3 fingers. Now, in this position, today, we're primarily focusing on the pelvic movement of our cat-cows, since we're primarily focusing on our low back and hips. By all means, you at home, if you want to do the whole cat-cow, feel free to do that. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to take an inhale and arch your low back, sink your belly down towards the floor. But then as you exhale, just stay right there for me. Now we're going to kind of wiggle these joints and muscles a little bit. So in this position, if you just kind of do a little tiny bit of a rocking, can you feel that that tension moves from one segment to another segment to another segment of your low back? So just stay there if you're that person that's really missing some extension right now. You're loving this. If your back is sensitive in this position, ease up. Then take a nice deep inhale here. And as you exhale, tuck the tailbone under as much as you can. And then with that tailbone tucked, rock yourself forward and backward. Now, if you've got lots of compression through your low back, your SI joints, your sacrum, keeping that tailbone tucked and doing this just feels fabulous. So keep rocking back and forth, starting to open up those joints into flexion. And then come back to the center. Take an inhale, roll the pelvis forward, sink your belly, and then stay here, but take your feet and sweep your feet slightly, just slightly to the left. Now we're going to be working a little bit more on the right joints of our low back and our right SI joint here. So as you sweep those feet over to that right, and your belly and your pelvis are in an anterior tilt and extended, start to gently rock and roll. What do you feel as you create that rock and roll in extension for yourself? Doing that 5 or 6 times. Then find the center of the road, take an inhale, and as you exhale, tuck that tailbone under and rock and roll. Oh, I feel a great opening through my right low back when I start to sit back towards that right heel. But we're just rocking and rolling today. Motion is lotion. And so if we've got pain, inflammation, or we're just trying to open our low back, movement is key. And that is what we're doing right now. And then bring yourself back to the center position. Allow yourself to take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, belly sinks, spine arches, tailbone is tilted so that the tailbone is up. And then sweep your feet gently to the right. Now, in this position, rock and roll. What do you feel? If you've got some nice, good muscle injuries or strains, or maybe too tight of abdominal muscles, or whatever the situation, this might be just what you need. If you feel sensitivity in your back doing this, ease up on the amount of extension that you're in. Some of us are very angry if we do too much extension. And then find the center of the road again, take an inhale, and then on the exhale, tuck, 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 tuck the tailbone under. And one last time, work on rocking here, focusing on that left low back, left SI joint as you're rocking. Keep that rocking going 4, 5, 6 times. And then finally come back to the center position. Keep the tailbone tucked, unrotate the knees, and then slowly sit back into child's pose. So as your sit bones get to your heels, let your belly drop downward onto your thighs, chest to the knees. Gently relax the elbows, crown of the head gently, slowly coming down onto the floor. All right, deep diaphragmatic breath. Let's do it. So give me a nice, slow, deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. And then gently bring yourself back up onto your hands and knees. So we're going to try something really challenging from the mobility standpoint, but awesome for opening up through your hips and your low back from this hands and knees position. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to walk a foot forward on your yoga mat. Then once you walk a foot forward on your yoga mat, I want you to look at your right knee and move your right knee until it is in the center of your yoga mat. Okay, now that your right knee is in the center of your yoga mat, start to step your left leg back a little bit. As you step your left leg back a little bit, the right leg start to rotate it out. So can you get your right tippy toes off the left side of your yoga mat? Now, this is a modification of pigeon pose. Stop wherever your tension level is. If you already feel lots of gluteal tension right here on the right side, this is where you are. But I want each and every one of you to find your edge with your hip rotators and your gluteal muscles today. So with your left leg, start to walk the left leg over to the bottom right edge of the mat. Now you might feel lots of tension in the outside of the right hip, and this is where you stay. If you've got a little bit more, start to walk the leg even further away from your body. Now check in that your knee is in the center of your chest, and if you can make it to this point, drop yourself down on your elbows, and this is where you stay. Now we're going to focus on that deep diaphragmatic breath here. So imagine that right hand at the beginning of class is on that belly. Where that hand was on that belly, that's where I want you to breathe. So give me a nice deep inhale into that belly through the nose and exhaling out. 2 more times. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Last time here, nice deep inhale in. And exhale out. Beautiful. Slowly walk yourself back up onto your hands and use your left toes to walk your left leg back over to the left side of your mat. Unrotate your right leg and then gently bring yourself back up into hands and knees. Okay, let's do it over on the other side. So the left knee, bring it to the center of your mat. So get that alignment first. Once you have your left leg to the center of your mat, step your right leg back a foot or two. Then gently turn the left toes off the right edge of the mat. Okay, you know what? This is your pose if you've got really tight hips on this left side. So you stay here. Maybe this is where you drop down on your elbows to give your wrist a break. But if you've got more in you, keep the left knee in the center of the mat and start to walk the right leg over to the left side of the mat. All right, this may be where you are, and if so, this is where you stay. Now, if you've got more, maybe you start to walk that right leg down to that left corner of your mat. And then this is the most advanced I want you to do today. Wherever you are, drop yourself on your elbows, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Maybe even relax as you really focus on that opening through that left hip, gluteals, hip rotators, whole kit and caboodle. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out again. Remember where that hand was at the beginning of class. That's where you want to take that breath to. Nice deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. Final time, nice slow deep inhale into the belly. And then exhaling out. Beautiful. Then walking yourself back up on your hands. Start with taking that right leg and tippy toe that leg back in and line it up with the right hip. Unrotate the left hip and then find yourself back into your hands, a deep position. Once you have yourself in your hands and knees position, walk your knees out to the width of your mat. Look back and make sure it looks like your toes are still about 6 inches apart from one another, hip distance. Then take a nice deep inhale here. And as you exhale, tuck the tailbone under, sit back into your heels, and then very gently take your entire chest and try to lay your chest down onto your mat. Now, crown of the head resting down onto the mat if you're comfortable, gently reaching those arms out. You've got some shoulder issues that are talking to you, then bend your elbows and keep your elbows next to the side of your body. Do what your body needs today, but holding this position, allow yourself to, again, think about where that belly was touching that hand at the beginning of class. That's where we want our breath right now. So take a nice deep inhale into that area. And then exhaling out. Two more breaths. Deep inhaling in. And exhaling out. One more good one here. Nice deep inhaling in and exhaling out. And then gently walking your hands back underneath your shoulders, slowly pushing yourself up, letting your knees come inward, and time to go back to that bolster. So we're going to be using our bolster sideways on our mat. So figure out for you where that is on your mat. Now, a little bit of information about this. If you're not using a true yoga bolster and you're using a pillow, try to fold the pillows up so that you're getting a solid 4 inches off the floor. Our pelvis is going to be on this. The higher off the floor you get, the more decompression you're going to get to your low back. Oh, the happier you're going to be. Now, let's talk about how to get on this bolster, shall we? So what I want you to do is I want you to take your body and place your pelvis and your right or left, however you want to do it, leg onto the bolster. But then look at your bottom leg bone that's closest to your bolster or closest to your pillows. Allow that leg bone to be half off of the bolster. Once you have it off the bolster, you may feel like your feet are off the side of your mat. That's a-okay. And then in this position, let your top hand come down to the floor. Let your bottom elbow come down to the floor. And then very slowly settle yourself down onto your bottom shoulder. Now, keeping your knees together, your thighs engaged, take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, rotate yourself over. If you positioned your pelvis correctly on your bolster, right now you should have yourself in the center of the bolster from side to side, and you should have it that your entire pelvis is resting on this bolster. Now, how do you know your pelvis is on the bolster? Well, you want about your waistband to be at the top edge of the bolster. Give or take, that's going to tell you that your pelvis is on the bolster. Now we're going to start with a nice little decompression of our low back here. So what I want you to do once you feel like you're in the right position on your bolster is to gently let your right knee come to your chest and then your left knee to come to your chest. Now, if as you do that, your pelvis starts to roll off the front of your bolster, you're not enough on your bolster. So just give yourself a little hug and a pull with your bolster until you can get yourself in that position. And then relax your feet, hands around the shin bones, wherever is comfortable for you, but make sure that your knees are hip distance apart. They're not too wide, they're not too close. So get that nice, good hip alignment. And then in this position, roll your shoulder blades down and back, lengthen your neck, settle your chin into your throat, rest the tongue on the roof of your mouth, and then just gently close your eyes. I'm getting a tickle in my throat. Okay, now in this position, go back to that diaphragmatic breath. When you take that deep, slow inhale, you are decompressing the tension in your low back. So take a nice, deep, and slow inhale into that belly. The inhale is where it's at, guys. And then gently exhaling out. Taking a deep inhale in. And gently exhaling out. Let's do one more. How slow and deep can you inhale inward? And exhaling out. Beautiful. Now, very gently, letting go of the right hand to the right leg and slowly lowering the right foot to the floor. So one of the key things that creates difficulty with our low back sometimes is this tension in the front of our right hip. And so play with where you are today, but I'm going to talk through a couple of ways that you can get nice, good opening through this hip using a bolster. So both hands, kind of wrap them around that left shin bone. Keep that left shin and that knee nice and close to your chest. And then take an inhale. And as you exhale, just try to creep your right foot down on the floor. How far can you go keeping the foot on the floor without lifting the heel off, without moving the left knee away from your chest? Try less effort today and more ease. So just go to where you begin to feel tension. Don't push strongly into it. There are days I encourage you to push into it. Today is just more of a gentle opening day. So find that point. If you go any further away, you start to feel your heel lift. You may be way up here with your knee bend. Just go to wherever you are today. Then lengthen your neck, settle your chin, tongue to the roof, maybe even closing your eyes. Take the right hand, place it on the belly. Deep, slow inhale. And exhaling. 2 more breaths. Deep, slow inhale. And exhaling. And then one more time, last time, deep inhaling in. And then exhaling. Now take the right hand back to the left leg and just work on feeling something for yourself, where your right leg is right now straight. If you start to bring your right leg across the mat to the left side, do you feel like you need to bend your knee more? Or if you bring your right leg out to the side to the right, do you feel like you need to bend your knee more? So are you tighter in your inner thigh related to your hip and back, or are you tighter in your outer thigh related to your hip and back? You at home pick which one you're going to do today. I am going with my leg towards the left. We got 3 more breaths here. So lengthen the neck, settle the chin, rest the tongue on the roof of the mouth, maybe close those eyes. Hand on the belly if you feel like you need it. Take a deep inhale into the belly. And then exhaling out. 2 more breaths. Nice deep inhale in. Exhaling out. And deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Whether your leg is inward or outward, line the leg back up with the hip. And then slide the flat of the foot back onto the mat. And then take an inhale and bring your knee to your chest. All right, move your pelvis around the bolster if you feel like you need to. Keep both of those knees to your chest, hip distance with the knees. Don't go too wide, don't go too narrow. Just take 2 breaths here. Nice deep inhale in. And then exhaling out. And one more time, nice deep inhaling in. And then exhaling out. And then both hands coming to the right leg this time. Slowly drop the left foot towards the floor. Once you get your foot flat on the floor, that's where we're going to begin. And then keeping that right knee to your chest, you're slowly going to walk the left foot away. How far can you take the left leg away from you, keeping the right knee to the chest before the leg lifts off the floor? Don't create force and tension today. Today is all about finding ease for these hips and this low back. So go to where you gently feel it begins to lift and then just gently hold it there. Left hand, place it on that belly for me. Right hand keeps that knee to the chest. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, tongue to the roof of your mouth, close your eyes. 3 diaphragmatic breaths here. Nice, slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Inhaling in. Exhaling out. One more beautiful breath. Nice deep inhale in. And then exhaling out. Taking the left hand back to the right knee, really securing that right leg to the pelvis and chest. And then with the left leg, play with where's your left hip the tightest. So if you try to slide your leg across your mat towards the right, does your knee start to bend more, meaning you're tighter on the outside of your hip? Or if you slide your leg outward to the left side of your mat, does your knee start to bend more, meaning you're tighter on that part of the hip? So if your leg is out to the left, that's your inner thigh that you're tightest in. If your leg is towards the right, that's your outer thigh that you're tightest in. We're only doing one, so you pick the one at home that you feel like you're the tightest with. Keep the leg in contact with the floor, no matter how much the knee is bent. Keep the right knee gently to the chest here. 3 last deep diaphragmatic breaths to open up through the front of this left hip. Lengthen the neck, settle the chin, tongue to the roof of the mouth, close the eyes. Hand on the belly if you feel like you need it. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And then exhaling out. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. And one more time here, nice slow deep inhale in. And exhaling out. And then let the leg, whether it's in or out, come back to line up with the hip and slowly slide the foot flat on the floor. And then on an inhale, bring your knee back to your chest. All right, move your move the bolster around if you need to. And then keeping those knees to the chest, 2 breaths to end this before we move on to the next. Allow yourself to take a nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. All right, left foot, place it down onto the floor. Right ankle, cross the right ankle over the left knee. So we're going to play with a version of thread the needle here today using a bolster. So here's what I want you to do. You may not have full abdominal strength, so let's use a little bit of our upper body to kind of irradiate and give us a little bit of a stronger trunk. So if you've got handles on your bolsters right now, go ahead and grab those bolsters and kind of engage through your upper body to get your abdominals to fire up. Take a nice deep inhale, and then on the exhale, pull that left knee up until you see that the knee stacks up on top of the hip. All right, once you have yourself there, both hands are going to be used. Let me talk you through where the hands need to go. So find your right hand and place your right hand through that hole between both legs, and then wrap it around the back of the left leg. Left hand meets to the back of the left leg, and you can interlace your fingers if you've got enough flexibility. Now in this position, take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, slowly and gently bring your left knee to your chest. Go to where you start to feel just a slight bit of tension into your right hip. And then using your right elbow, give it a little push out to the side. All right, keep yourself in this modification of thread the needle. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Maybe gaze at your right ankle here and give me a slow, deep inhale into that belly. And then exhaling out. Let's do one more breath. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Release the tension with the right elbow and the right leg. And then gently lower the left foot back towards the floor. Uncross the right leg. Place the right foot on the floor. And take that left ankle and put it up and over that right knee. Now, if you got good strong abdominals, just on the exhale, pull your legs up. If you don't have good strong abdominals, grab a hold of that bolster, brace yourself from the upper, which will allow you to have some additional strength to your abdominals to get your right knee stacked on top of your right hip. All right, now that you're there, the left hand, put it in the hole between the two legs and wrap it around the back of the right leg. And then the right hand comes to meet the left hand behind that leg. All right, now in this position, take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, slowly start to bring the right knee toward the chest. It may be a half an inch. It may be a lot. So you go to wherever you are in this left hip today. Wherever you get to, hold yourself there. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, tongue to the roof of the mouth. Maybe keeping your gaze at that left ankle. And then with your left elbow, start to gently push out a little bit on that left knee, left thigh. Feel that stretch to that left hip. All right, holding right here for 2 breaths. So nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Let's do one more breath. Deep inhale in. And exhale out. Most excellent. Release the left elbow against the left thigh, and then slowly lower the right foot to the floor. Once the right foot is to the floor, uncross the left leg, place the left leg to the floor, and then bring your right knee back to your chest, holding your hands to the underside of your knee this time. And then in this position, check in that your ankle and your knee and your hip are all lined up. Allow yourself to point your right toes up towards your head. And then take a deep inhale here. And on your exhale, pull that right knee into the chest. Beautiful gluteal stretch with a little bit of neural tension added. All right, now we're going to do some sciatic nerve and hamstrings here. So keep that knee to your chest. Take a nice deep inhale and straighten the leg to your level. And then gently exhale as the knee bends. 4 more times. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice deep inhale and exhale. And 2 more times. Inhaling, straightening. Exhaling, relaxing. And inhaling and straightening. And exhaling and relaxing. You've got it. Now, before you let go of this right leg, take this left knee and bring the left leg up to your chest, and then release the right foot to the floor, foot flat onto the floor. Both hands to the underside of the left leg this time. Before we get started, check in that your ankle and your knee and your hip all line up with one another. Take your left toes, point them up towards your head. Take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, pull the knee nice and snug into your chest. All right, 5 times, working on the left nerve, sciatic nerve, left hamstrings. So take an inhale, straighten the leg as much as you feel comfortable, keeping the knee towards the chest, and then exhale and relaxing it down. Nice deep inhale, straightening, and exhale, relaxing. Inhaling, straightening. Exhaling, relaxing. 2 more times. Inhaling and straightening. Exhaling and relaxing. And finally, inhaling and straightening. And exhaling and relaxing. Beautiful. Keeping the left knee where it is. Take the right knee back up to your chest. Now, all we're going to do is move the bolster out of our way. So in this position, kind of wiggle yourself side to side until you get to the point that you've moved the bolster away from your pelvis. Once you've moved the bolster away from the pelvis, I like to take my feet around both sides of my bolster and walk my bolster down. But I want you to place your bolster down at the edge of your mat so that if you could rest your ankles onto it, you will be in a beautiful waterfall pose. We're not ready for waterfall pose, but make sure you have your bolster in the position that you will be ready for that at the end of class. And then once you're there, take your right leg, bend your knee back up, and take your left leg and cross your left leg up and over your right leg today. So we're going to be stretching through the right outer hip, right outer back in a modification to spinal twist. So now that your legs are crossed, what I want you to do is take your right foot and slowly walk your right foot to the right edge of your mat. Arms, bring them out beside you, however is comfortable for you. Allow yourself to have that little bit of opening through your chest, but more importantly, focus on this right shoulder blade staying in contact with the mat. And then taking a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale with your left leg pulls the right leg inward. Feel that gorgeous stretch out through that tensor fascia lata, which is what connects to the IT band, the gluteals, the quadratus lumborum, the abdominals. Go as far as you feel comfortable with pulling that right knee inward. And once you're there, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, turn your right ear down to the mat. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling out. One more beauty here. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. All right, start with the head. Bring the head back upright. Feel where the right rib cage is off the floor. And how would you use your abdominals to pull that back down first? Followed by your low back, followed the pelvis, and then getting those knees back upright again. All right, so walk the right foot back to the center of the mat. Uncross the left leg over the right, and then take the right leg and cross it over the left. Once you have that, then walk the left foot to the left side of the mat. You are ready for your modification of the second spinal twist. So take a nice deep inhale here, and on the exhale, the right leg, the top leg, pulls the left leg downward. Feeling that gorgeous opening through that outer part of that left hip, left low back area, maybe all the way up into the abdominals. My goodness, on this side, I even feel it all the way up into my chest and my pectoralis muscles. That's fabulous. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and turn your gaze towards the left here. All right, 2 nice deep inhales and exhales. So deep inhale into the belly, exhaling out. And one more time, nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Bring the head back to the center first. And then think about this left rib cage that's off the floor. How would you use all your back and abdominal muscles to pull it down first, followed by that low back, followed by that pelvis, and then finally those knees are upright. And then walk that left foot back to the center of the mat, uncross the legs. Gently bring both knees up to your chest just for a moment. Nice, good hug inward. I'm going to do a full neural stretch here of my body. You can feel free to do it with me if you like, or just keep your knees to your chest. But take your toes and point them up towards your head here. Take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, curl your chin into your throat. Use your biceps to lift that rib cage up. How close can you get your forehead to your knees? Gazing into your belly button here. Take a nice deep inhale in and exhale out. One more nice deep inhale in and exhale out. Using those biceps to slowly lower the rib cage. Keep your chin to your chest until the rib cage is down, and then unrotate that neck until the whole head is resting back on the floor. And then take the right foot down to the bolster. Take the left foot down to the bolster. Slide your legs so that you feel the edges of that bolster with your heels. Settle your tailbone here. Relax your shoulder blades underneath you. Rest your arms out to the side. Man, does it feel good to open up through that low back and those hips. So waterfall pose here. Essentially, all you're doing is just letting the lymphatic system have a little bit of extra help to move everything from the tips of your toes all the way back up to your pelvis and belly. So as you're here, just let yourself stay nice and still. And then just feel where the right heel touches the bolster. And how about the back of your right calf? Is it touching as well? And feel the left heel and the left calf. As you're feeling, do they appear to be touching the same amount of your bolster on both sides? And once you've paid attention and awareness to that, and start to pay attention to the weight of the legs into the bolster. As your legs are nice and heavy and relaxed, does the right leg feel as heavy into the bolster as the left leg does? What could you let go of in your hips or your glutes, your abdominals? Maybe you're holding yourself there. Maybe your pelvic floor. Maybe you're squeezing down there. Let it go. Let yourself relax and let the legs be nice and heavy. And as you've paid attention to that, then just slowly let yourself relax there. Come up to your buttocks. And just check in for a moment that you're not squeezing or tensing one buttock relative to the other. Just let them relax. Oftentimes, if we're dealing with pain, we might need to squeeze the muscles for a second to allow them to fully understand how to fully relax. So feel free to do that if you need to. And then go to your belly. And make sure as you're finally resting here, you can feel that belly gently moving up on the inhale and down on the exhale. You have improved your breathing today. which directly means you've improved any inflammation or pain in your low back. So let yourself be still and just feel that movement of the belly moving up and down. All right, now when you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe do some circles with those ankles, maybe even some pumps with those ankles today. And then slowly bending one knee up, placing your foot flat on the floor, followed by the other. And let yourself roll over to your right or your left side, resting there for a moment. Nice deep inhaling in, out. And then when you're ready, using the bottom elbow and the top hand, pushing yourself up into a seated position. Finding easy pose, tailor sitting. And hands are to our hearts. I can already feel how good my back feels. So taking a nice deep inhale here and exhale. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Thank you for joining me today.